The three words that I would describe CMO Exchange would be personal, right-sized, and informative.
Relevant, comfortable, and engaging.
Informative. It's been incredibly informative, both from peer perspective, plus with the vendor perspective and what solutions are out there to help us. I think intimate. It's a relatively small group, and it allows you to really freely move around from people to people and make some good relationships.
I like the intimacy of the format. It's not like a regular conference. It's also very engaging, and it's so energizing. Very energizing.
It's tight-knit, it's not a massive audience, which I think is great. Thought-provoking and fun. I mean, I feel like I've enjoyed the interactions that I've had with people.
I would definitely recommend the CMO Exchange to anybody at my level. For anybody who wants to learn and be on the front end of digital expansion, marketing, data, mobile. I mean, I think there's a great kind of cross-pollination of executives who can teach.
I'm happy to have heard about the work of the Chief Marketing Officers Exchange. Ever since we began to have CMOs, we have learned so much from each other. I don't see a CMO holding back on secrets that he doesn't want to share with other CMOs. So there's a conviviality and a learning process that's very good, and your organization is very good at doing that.
You know, having IQPC and their staff manage every aspect of your movement through the 3 days is phenomenal. It's really like sort of being in a high-end hotel, but in a professional context. So, you know, we need a lot of help typically to make things go, make sure we're where we're supposed to be when we're supposed to be there, have some context for, you know, what we're doing. And also, you know, if certain connections aren't happening, just having the backup and someone, you know, able to kind of make sure that those things do happen. This is our second event, and it's been tremendous. In fact, we brought our CEO to this particular one just so that he could witness what is actually happening here. This has just been stellar.
The presentations have been incredibly thoughtful, and there's been a lot of really wonderful discussion, and I've really enjoyed that, and I've been very exhilarated by that. Everyone's talking about, did you see this? Did you see that? Did you hear this speaker? Did you hear that speaker? I mean, and I'm telling you, that's really unusual. I don't normally hear that.
The topics of the sessions are great. They run the full gamut of all of the challenges that I think we're all facing, dependent on our industry, and I think to be able to sit there and hear other people talk about the problems they're having, it validates what you're trying to achieve in your role and in your organization as well, because everybody's kind of facing the same things. And it's been great over the course of a little bit of time to be able to end up having very familiar type conversations over a drink at the end of the day. It's very good in that way. It's a great blend of formality and informal sessions to be able to really, you know, bond with these people and solve problems together, I think.
It's nice to be able to get outside of the sports vertical and to chat with some colleagues and really understand that they're struggling with and what they're finding solutions to in completely different businesses and industries. And I think what's fascinating is over 2.5 days, the conversation really gets kind of intimate because you get a lot of opportunity to talk to the same individuals. And so by the second day, you find yourself almost sharing with them as though they're a member of your team, which again is really, I think, a unique opportunity.
To be able to have just more of a face-to-face conversation, get to know you, understand what your challenges are, where you're coming from. That becomes a very different way of building a relationship and developing what could be a business relationship down the line. But it really begins with the personal relationship. So to me, I think that's a really powerful and important thing.
So yeah, the exchange set up, or actually asked us, what kind of providers do we want to meet with, and gave us a list. So I had the option to select the ones that I wanted to meet with, who I thought would be able to provide some kind of solutions for me. And they were really good. I mean, they're relatively short in time, but it's just enough time to be able to understand what they do, they understand what I do, we talk about the problems that I'm having and work out really whether there is an opportunity for us to explore further. And I found them to be very relevant and to be very productive. I've come away from here after just two days with quite a few contacts that I'm really excited about. We're setting up follow-up sessions for the coming weeks.
It is a very efficient use of my time. It was, I didn't know how this was going to work. It was my first time. So I went and selected the vendors the suppliers based on their descriptions. And of all the ones I met, I'm probably going to have follow-up meetings with 90% of them. I mean, they just hit the sweet spot of what I was hoping to learn about and what I need at this time in my business.
In our first event, we actually engaged with a financial institution we had never had a relationship with before, and within 2 months of that initial connection, we had secured a contract with that organization. So that was massive for us. Like, just from a sales cycle standpoint, it's typically a year from initial communication to close. That was remarkable. And so we sat back and thought, okay, hang on a minute. There must be more that we can do in this environment. And so we're definitely stepping up our involvement. We are coming back to the next exchange, I believe, in San Antonio, which happens in the fall.